In this video, I talk about the current state of the market when it comes to NFTs. Can you still make money trading and flipping NFTs? And what might we see in terms of trends if we see a cryptocurrency bull run, in particular the altcoins? So, firstly, what I want to do is have a look at the overall market. And one thing we've noticed recently is a spike up, especially in blue chip NFTs. From lows we saw in October, we've seen the prices move upwards. I'm actually going to show you that in just a minute as we look through some specific collections, because I think those will be really useful to give us an idea of upcoming trends. But in general, in terms of ETH minted, collections released, like new buyers, there hasn't been any massive change, to be honest with you, based on the data anyway. What we've seen though, in terms of the top NFTs, is if you go on to a 30-day kind of percentage change, you can see massive changes in Bored Apes, Mutants, Azuki, DeGods, CryptoPunks as well. Going further down the list, Potatoes, and so on. So we've definitely seen an increase, even in Moonbirds, Doodles. But then when we click on, let's say 7-day, we're seeing things are kind of calming down a good bit. So we've seen actually a little bit of a pullback. And then when we go on to the 24-hour, we've seen, again, mixed. So what you could say is we had a move up off the lows and things are kind of stabilizing now, much like we saw with altcoins in the last kind of 4 to 6 weeks. We've seen a move up and things are kind of consolidating now. And that leads me on to one important point. How does the market move in terms of the actual NFT floor prices as compared to altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc.? We used to get this relationship which was much the opposite, and a lot of people still think that's how things happen. For me, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. It just doesn't make any sense. What I think will happen in terms of a trend is altcoins are moving up and now they're consolidating. We may get a deeper pullback, we may not, may consolidate and keep pushing up. I think with Bitcoin and also the other altcoins, if we continue to see movement upwards, which I think is likely going into 2024, then very likely NFTs will see a pump as well. And that is simply the flow of cash through the entire system. And NFTs you might see as an extension of altcoins. I mean, for example, some of the NFT collections themselves, they have their own coins, for example, ApeCoin. And those also we've been seeing trending upwards in the last few weeks, which we'll look at in just a moment. I think it's more the flow liquidity through the system that will eventually seep into NFTs. And to be honest, that's really what happened last time. I mean, altcoins were pumping so hard that immediately what people were doing were taking their profits and they were dumping it into NFTs, where overnight sometimes an NFT could 2x, 3x, and more. And that's really what was happening. And I don't see any reason why that would change now, because altcoins are probably the best investment right now, to be honest with you. And they're the ones that are going to get the most gains, but they will take longer. However, once NFTs start pumping, and I believe they will, then nothing will beat NFT flips generally, as long as you know what you're doing. But we'll come back to that in a second as well. So we've talked about the altcoins. So this, for example, is Solana. And we've seen a massive rise up just from October. From the 20 to 25 level, we're already at 60. Now, remember, a lot of people will be in this and involved with this, and they would have made profits. And they might be thinking out, what should I do with my cash? Like I said before, I think very likely people are going to be rotating altcoins for a while, but I think some of it will start seeping into NFTs. I think NFTs, they don't have a broader appeal in terms of what you might describe as celebrities, etc., coming into the space. I don't think we're seeing any of that. The same way with cryptocurrency, we're not really seeing massive retail trader FOMO. We're nowhere near that at the moment. So I think we have a while to go with NFTs as well. However, blue chips is where I'm particularly interested in at the moment. So let me show you an example. So this is Azuki. At the moment, you can see the floor price is 6 ETH. Now, very quickly, if you scan through some of these that are listed just above the floor, you can see the last sale prices. And you can see now a little bit of separation between the price. First of all, the first thing to know is that the price isn't less than what it was before. This was the problem obviously a few months ago. We had a general grind down to all the blue chips in terms of their floor prices. And then it looked like it bottomed out probably a month ago. Now, will we return to those lows? That is another question to ask. But generally, you're seeing a lot of people listing comfortably above what they had actually purchased the NFT for, especially if it was a recent purchase, which is a good sign. And we're seeing that separation increase. But still, the flips here are very, very small. Now, you have to remember as well, ETH has increased in its value a little bit as well. So you have to take that into account. What I mean by that is if they bought for 6 ETH and they're listing for 6 ETH, they could be making a profit in terms of dollars just based on the fact that the price of ETH has gone up. Now, this is another collection. This is Moonbirds, which has returned to a floor price of 2.15 ETH. Now, if you have a look over a year chart, you can see that earlier in the year, they were up at 9 ETH and then dropped quickly to 7. And then they had that massive, sharp, steep kind of drop down. And it's been at the value of around 2 ETH for a while. And then it got all the way down to 1.2, 1.3 ETH in September, which you could argue may be a bottom for the market. And recently, you've seen things pick up. And you do begin to wonder whether you might want to call it NFT smart money is actually coming back into the market. And maybe they're positioning themselves. So position plays, where the people might be picking up a few blue chips to hold. As everything is beginning to pump and beginning to take a turn, the tide is turning, whether they're positioning themselves, because very likely we won't see these prices of 1 ETH again, even if we had a pullback. That's something to consider. But the thing is, this will bring some level of volume to the market, but nowhere near enough to kind of trigger a full-on NFT bull market again. Nowhere near. However, it would definitely be enough for those people to make small flips in some of these kind of blue chips. And the thing is, I think if we see that happen more and more, then we're going to get more of the traders, let's call it medium level traders, get involved more and more as we see those flips happening. And I don't think, I don't think we're here yet. I think there are a lot of traders, myself included, who would be looking for flips of 0.5 ETH or more. And if you're only seeing plays where you'd make 0.001 ETH or something like that, like, what's the point? When you take into account all of the fees involved, the time involved, the risk involved in holding these NFTs, which could go either way, it wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't be worth trading. But that opportunity seems to be returning again. Now, if you look at the mutants and the floor price 5.54, this is a kind of like a 6-month chart, which shows it a little bit clearer. We've seen dips in floor price here. Lowest getting to, I think, I would say about mid-August. But since then, you can see we kind of pumped up a little bit and we have got a little bit more volume. Nothing crazy, nothing incredible. And you could just argue these are general fluctuations with the prices of the apes, but definitely we are seeing some movement there. Now, the thing about the blue chips as well, you can kind of differentiate between all of them in terms of which ones may do well and which ones may not. So let me show you what I mean by that. So with cryptocurrency, in every single cycle, prices go higher and higher. And the ones that do very well are the main Bitcoin, Ethereum. So every cycle, they seem to do well and pick up more and more price. So we get those doing well every single cycle. And those are the ones that kind of larger investors get involved with, especially because they're considered to be less risk. But then every single cycle, we have something new, like for example, Solana or Sandbox, etc. Every single cycle, we have these new altcoins that do really well and then almost become in themselves important blue chips for the future. So we get two different things going on. Now, I think we could see the same thing with NFTs. I think with these cycles, the cycles will be very different though. They won't be cycles where, like with Bitcoin, the price just builds up more and more. I think it will be very different. It will be sideways up and down cycles almost. But basically what will happen is we need to determine who in the NFT space, which collections are the Bitcoin and ETH. Once you determine those, then you will consider this as a buying opportunity. If this first cycle has ended now, and we're now entering a second cycle, which could happen later than altcoins, etc., to get things in full swing. When they are in full swing, these that were the Bitcoins of NFTs, they will do very well. But then on top of that, you will get the Bitcoins, but you'll get something new happen every time. I think that's what's going to happen this time. I think the new types of NFTs will be radically different. And I think for those of you who experience with NFTs, it will be obvious. When you see these collections come, it will be obvious that these are game changers. And when you see them, and it's obvious that they're game changers, invest early. Invest early and hold for that particular cycle. Hold and then decide where you might want to sell the top. I think that's at the moment anyway, that's how I'm looking at it, and that would be my playbook. There would be a couple of blue chips and there will be some new collections that will be game changing. That's what I'm looking at. I don't think there's mileage in this volume coming in and then just lifting up all of the collections that ever existed when it came to NFTs, because there was just too many collections. There was just a ridiculous number of collections that were released as compared to how many people could actually be bothered holding or trading the NFTs. Just my opinion, of course. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Anyway, getting back on track. So let's talk about the blue chips in more detail. So looking through the list there, you've got, any of these, to be honest, in the top almost 20, you could argue, like little pudgies as well, doodles, you could argue could be blue chips. Obviously, you got Alex Becker, Neo Tokyo. I'll probably do another video on this. And to be honest, personally, I need to analyze this more as well. But it's about determining out of these 20, I think I would argue there may be 5 that you would say are absolutely solid blue chips that you would see smart money pouring into and just holding on to. And that would be like a very safe bet, shall we say. Where some of them that have had mixed reviews, let's say, over the last 12 months, in terms of some of their decisions going forward. For example, the apes, there may be an argument that they will do all right, but some of the other blue chips may perform better. And with some of the really good blue chips, as I said before, I think you can get 2, 3x, maybe even a 5x safely with those. So overall, as we see new collections come and go in this space, I think personally it's about sentiment. It's about sentiment much more than it is about fundamentals of any particular project or any particular kind of niche. And I think within NFTs, we may see some new trends, some new niches for sure. And I think it's those with the biggest hype and best sentiment. Those are the ones that you would want to consider investing in and holding or hodling longer term. Whereas most of the new collections that are doing well at a time when the volume is really good, you can look to flip. And the reason for that is it will be harder for those collections to have that sustained attention, which, as we've seen, is really important for a collection to then potentially become a blue chip. And before, I'd mentioned ApeCoin as well and other coins as well. So we'll just have a look at a couple of those to finish. And you can see here ApeCoin very clearly. You can see the trend and the move we had. So from that peak point we had on 26th of January, where it kind of followed the altcoins as well. So let's just have a look at that move. From the lows, it had actually gone up about 100 and a bit percent. So basically doubled, not much more than that. And then from that peak price, it actually run down to the lows, 83%. So moving very much like an altcoin. And then since then, from the lows, let's just have a look and see what's happened. So if we take it from around there to the peaks here, we're up about 40%. So actually significantly underperforming as compared to altcoins, which is why, again, I remind you, I think altcoins is where the interest is going to be for a while, and then it will flow into NFTs. Much the same kind of as last time. We saw apes do well early on, but then the bulk of the NFT volume, collections, interest, that came later on. And I think that's the same that will happen this time. By the way, this is LuxRare, which is another platform. I kind of keep this on my watch list as well, just again to give me a little quick idea of sentiment. Obviously, they all have their own roadmap as well, and certain news events could actually move the price here. But this move upwards, which was a decent enough rally, but it looks all kind of corrective to me. So I don't think this is going anywhere personally. But again, I'm sidetracking. Let me know in the comment section below what you think at the moment. More videos to come. Thanks for listening.